Hello and
Hello?
welcome to the Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 34 for the week of March 19th, 2018. I'm your host as always, Saine Grey, and with me are co-hosts Dalsson
Hello, it's me.
and Thel.
Dalsson was just over there for half a second, like he just walked into the podcast, sat down, hello, and then Stan was like, "Hello, welcome to the podcast." He's like, "Oh, okay, is that what we're doing?"
Oh, we're going.
Like,
Shit.
like he just fucking got here like 30 seconds ago. Hello, where am I? Hi, welcome to the podcast. What the fuck? You're the person we're interviewing today is Dalsson. Guys, help! Help!
Watch as I adjust my camera. Okay, so
Hooray.
we're going to talk about some games and movies we've checked out this week, and then head into gaming and movie news for the last hour or so of the show.
Assuming we have that much.
We'll see. Well, actually, there's a decent amount of gaming stuff to this week.
Oh, okay, all right, cool.
Decent. At least there's stuff to talk about, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
super
one thing in
OCD
movies.
over my camera right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you said you forgot. You thought you forgot something, and there it is.
Anyway,
Okay.
so who wants to go first this week?
I will go first this week. I actually did quite a lot this week, believe it or not.
That's good to hear.
The first thing that I did this week, and it's crazy to think that I did this like for the first time. Like it's been one whole podcast. How I measure weeks now. It's been one whole podcast since I watched Annihilation, and since then I've watched it like 3 more times and forced everyone to watch it. I love this movie. It is so wonderful. I might actually have to make like a video on the movie because I don't feel like I can go really into it like in the limited time I'm going to have right here.
See, this is kind of weird because I was not as hype about this movie coming out of it.
Really?
Yeah, remember, because I talked about it on the podcast one day, and I think my takeaway was from it was I was a little sad that it's going to be crushed by Black Panther.
Yeah,
but
and yeah, it absolutely is, but that doesn't always surprise me.
What happened to me when I watched this movie is I watched it, I really liked it, and then the next day, Thel and I got in an argument for 2 hours about the definition of the word refraction.
I see.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
I was
interesting.
insisting that that refraction was not the phenomenon that a prism caused, even though that was what they were referring to in the movie when they said refraction.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
it turns out it is, and I was wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. And then we
Eventually, the argument was solved when I went to the Wikipedia page for Prism and started reading, like, oh, I've got Wikipedia now.
No.
And then
And
I got to the word.
Point read that, so he just sort of
I
like
got to the word refraction, and I was like, oh.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, and the reason we were talking about this is because Zane, you actually mentioned that there is a shot, like really early in the movie, and then there's a mirrored shot at the end of the movie.
Right.
With like a glass, right? And when you say glass, what I thought you were talking about was like a glass window, but it was like a glass made of glass filled with water glass,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, you didn't realize that I meant like literally a
Yeah, I
glass
didn't
of
realize
water.
that you meant like literally a glass. And like the reason for that shot was that was just showing off the phenomenon of refraction.
No, you even talked about that when I mentioned it on the podcast. I just don't think it was done in a very effective way because I thought it was just really distracting.
See,
okay.
That's all I was
like,
really
now-
saying. I think it was trying to
fair
be
enough.
fancier for the sake of being fancy when really...
Yeah.
now I think I hammered out my argument about refraction a little better. Now I think I'm formulating what the problem was that I was actually having.
Go
When
ahead.
light refracts in water, that is just a simple bend. It's the same
Right,
object.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just but the
refraction
refraction that they
prism
referred to
is-
in the movie, it was the same what a
prism
prism
refraction,
would do.
yeah. Yeah.
Like splitting things up into
Well, there's a lot of
different-
different kinds of refraction and just different stuff. That also is like what causes parallax.
Mhm.
In like phones and anything with multiple layers of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. That's and that was, and again, without spoiling anything,
See-
that was one of the big plots of the movie.
Yeah,
Right.
so for this movie, it was a... we should probably get better about talking about what the movie is before we start
the
talking
actual
about
plots
it.
of the movie.
Yeah, so just a basis, just like the premise. It's there's kind of a like toxic or top secret area where the main character, a scientist, her husband was sent to this top secret area and disappears. So she later goes to the top secret area and then kind of goes in too. But more as a scientist than as a soldier, which he was. And kind of her goal is just to figure out what happened to him and to generally kind of explain this phenomenon that's
Well, he came back before
on.
she went in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
But he was like changed, so she wanted not
she was
like in the
he was like in the
hospital.
He
Seem like
had,
the same person.
Multiple organ failure.
Right. Well, he had kind of disappeared in it for a long period of time and then just showed up randomly, and it was confusing.
Yeah.
Which is what prompted her to investigate the shimmer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so I think the movie definitely had some really great moments. Like, the monster in Annihilation, in like halfway through the movie, is probably one of my favorite movie monsters I've seen in literally
there's
years.
A couple of monsters, but I know the one you're talking about. If you've seen the movie, you probably do know.
You know exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
That's the thing. When a lot of people talk about like a perfect cinematic scene, a lot of times they're talking about like these really lofty sort of like moments of dialogue, stuff that's really like heady and stuff, especially in like science fiction like this. You know, they're talking about like the scene in Stalker where they're all like sitting down and talking about how there's no such thing as fucking happiness and stuff like that. But when I think of perfect cinema, this is the sort of thing I think of. It uses the medium to elicit an emotional response, which is kind of almost the point of the medium. And this used the medium, all of the little things around it, to elicit fear in such a beautifully perfect, wonderful way. Horror movies and science fiction movies are good again. I'm in love with this movie.
It's just funny because there have been so many horror movies that have done it kind of wrong. And for it to be just like a random piece in the middle of a science fiction movie that isn't really a horror movie is just kind of like funny that they just pulled it off so much better than like actual horror movies. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
We watched it with a couple. Me and Thel sat a couple of us down and forced us to watch it. Saine, I think you were notably not there, but
but I already seen it.
When I saw it, you had already seen it. So like when I got what was supposed to be so creepy and scary about that particular scene, but the other few people that I was watching it with were like, wow, this particular thing that really sells it. And I was like, I don't know if that's what really sells it. I just feel like the atmosphere in general and like the design of the monster, stuff like that makes it really scary. But that one particular point, like, yes, it makes it a little creepier, but it wasn't a selling point for me, and it sounded like it was a selling point for everybody else.
Yeah, and that one selling point was for me. What it was definitely a combination of those things. In fact, all of the atmosphere and stuff. There was a scene leading up to it. Like Saine was saying, this starts out as like a really hard sci-fi movie, and then there's a point where someone gets pulled into a building, and you're like, oh, there's supposed to be scary shit that happens in this movie, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a scene a little bit earlier on that has to do with the camera that was like. When I was first watching the movie, I was like, "Oh, buddy, here we go. That's pretty fucked up right there. We're getting into good horror shit right now. I'm excited. I'm very excited." And it's like that had that atmosphere and just like that creepy stuff going on. The music, that almost that horrible choir that was singing as was happening as the guy was like washing the blood from his hands. And it's like, wow, that's really good. And then this next scene happens and just elevates it with that one thing. So yeah,
right.
I think it was more of just like this particular thing brings this from just creepy with the atmosphere and the design of the monster to what the fuck.
Right.
I thought it was a really cool monster. It was well designed.
I loved it. I thought it was my favorite monster in years.
The third part, so the third act of the movie, and it was broken up into like acts, which I thought was kind of weird and almost a little bit distracting for me. But
well,
I didn't need it. I didn't feel like it needed to do it that way. But
right. It's one of those things like a lot of old and this is one of the things like that particular thing wasn't really distracting to me because a lot of old Slavic sci-fi films did that, and it was like very much almost an homage to those. I even think Beyond the Black Rainbow did that, which is another thing that it like had a lot of. There's a lot of Stalker in this movie, a lot of On the Silver Globe specifically.
It can be an homage with and still be distracting. it definitely took me out of it, and it was like, hey, remember you're watching a movie right now. And it was like, they really didn't need to do that, because the way that the story was set up was already in acts. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't, I don't know. That might just be a matter of taste, but that was something that annoyed me a little bit. But in the third act, that was very much reminded me of that alien movie.
Which
Fire Walk? Is it Fire Walk with Me? The one where a dude disappears and
Fire Walk with Me.
You know which one I'm talking about, though, right?
Tell me a little bit more about it.
It was the one that takes place in Snowflake, Arizona. A dude disappears for like a week and then shows up.
Oh yeah. I do remember exactly which one you're talking about. The one that was where the guy was abducted and like nobody believes him. Yeah.
The last chunk of that movie reminded me very much of that movie here.
Yeah. And that you actually bring up another good point. That I didn't draw that connection, but now that you mention it, yeah, it really does. Because
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool in a way, and it was very like reminiscent of that, just because the last chunk of that is like, what the hell is even happening now?
Yeah.
Because it was so like bizarre compared to what the rest of the movie was.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool, but I don't know. It left the end didn't feel like it resolved a ton, whereas I felt more satisfied coming out of
like Arrival.
Arrival, yeah.
Yeah.
But that might just be like a matter of, I don't know. It was trying to say something different, so maybe I'm more okay with it now than I kind of was immediately coming out of the theater, but
I can see that.
How did you like it compared to Arrival?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know.
Because I've heard a lot of people be on both sides of this.
Yeah.
And I definitely liked Arrival more, personally.
Arrival, they're very similar movies. So, like, especially, like, the setup of, like, it's basically, like, Arrival is, government find alien do good things. This movie is government find alien stuff, alien do bad thing.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah, who even knows, right? And I thought what was interesting about this movie is, like, it didn't seem to have as much of a point as Arrival did.
Yeah, or Arrival was very much about specifically like we should be peaceful, whereas this movie was
aliens, right?
About, like, yeah, exactly.
Wow, dude.
Okay,
now we've said it a couple times, but did it even like explicitly say that it was aliens until towards the end?
Yes, it did.
It did.
Right at the beginning of the movie, it was a meteor that came from outer space and hit the planet. If it was not aliens, it was some alien thing.
It was extraterrestrial,
right?
In origin.
It's like that thing in Under the Skin where they never explicitly say anything.
But you know, even though
but you know just because it's like,
well, because all
this could be.
This movie did a really good job of showing rather than telling, which is not super common in sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
So I thought the way that they handled that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But
again, wasn't super common. But then 2010 came, Beyond the Black Rainbow. We got this. We got fucking Under the Skin. It's wonderful. It's good again.
Yeah, but I would say Arrival definitely had more exposition than this.
Oh yeah. I mean, yes, Arrival did have exposition. There was a point where
I didn't think it hurt
aliens
it, but
explained everything. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Arrival is a wonderful film. Great shit. Even like Blade Runner had a lot of exposition. I think here's the thing. For me, it's like you got like the Denis Villeneuve chart. Like I like Blade Runner a little bit more than I like Arrival, and I would sandwich and by a little bit more I mean like a little bit more. And I would sandwich Annihilation right in between them. I liked it just a teeny bit more than Arrival, but just a teeny bit less than Blade Runner. So yeah, that's sort of where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to even compare Blade Runner and Arrival in terms of how much I like them, because I feel like elicit different
sort of
different feelings for me. So they're not like, I like them a lot for different reasons, and it's really hard to judge which one I would like more, because it's like I really like the cyberpunk and it really scratches an itch for me, whereas Arrival is like a different kind of itch that's scratching, so it's not like I can't even really compare them. But I would say that I still liked Arrival a little bit better than Annihilation, just because I felt like it was more satisfying. But I don't know, like I could see someone liking this other movie just because it's so like weird looking.
Yeah.
I don't know. The visuals were just so much better in this.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you ever wanted to see a version of Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker that's actively a horror movie, go watch Annihilation. I don't know
it's
if
not a horror movie though. It's like a sci-fi movie with horror elements. So
yeah, well, if you want to see Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker, but every once in a while something really fucked up happens, it's like there's no such thing as joy, Stalker. It's completely pointless, and that's why I want to destroy this place. To assume that there is joy is to be like a child.
Oh shit, is that a fucking ghost?
Yeah, no, this zone is joy. It's wonderful.
And then he gets mauled by a bear monster.
Yeah, and then the other guy's just like, is there a bear? Oh shit, run!
Is that a fucking bear?
Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful. Love it. Well, I loved it.
That's pretty much what happens in the video game Stalker. You still have not.
Which
you
are
still have
both
not
based
explained
on
to
the
me.
same book.
Okay, I thought you told me those were different, like entirely
No.
different
Okay.
things.
Okay. The video game Stalker takes place in the same world as the book, and the movie is based like a direct
is based on the book.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, exactly. And the book that Annihilation was based off of is based off of at least the movie Stalker. I haven't read the book, and if it is like a 1-to-1 translation, then it's based off of both of them. But if it's like if it's not, then it's like it was definitely based off the movie.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So
combinations of things. The Stalker cinematic universe.
So how many stars out of 5 would you give it? How do you feel about it?
I loved it. 10 out of 10. It's gonna be hard to beat this.
That's
favorite
not
movie
out
of
of
the
5.
year.
Out of 5 though, so 5. I assume.
Yeah, 5, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd probably give it a 5, but only barely.
Yeah. Okay. Dalsson?
I thought it was okay. I like it had some things that wowed me. It like really captured me, like towards the ending there, towards like obviously the scene with the monster that everybody was talking about. I thought it was a little slow to get started, I guess.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't know. I not quite as hot on it as you guys. I'd probably say, I mean, I liked it a lot, so I'd probably say like 4 out of 5.
Well, like I said, I was kind of really on the edge there. I could have gone either way with it. I feel like it only barely hit 5 for me, whereas I feel like Arrival was a safe 5 for me, where this is like barely a 5.
It's like
so
tentative.
I definitely liked
like
Arrival better.
Yeah. Well, okay, cool.
Yeah, cool. The next thing that I did was I played Rimworld.
Oh boy,
This ought to be a story.
there's ought to be a bunch of stories. Are you gonna
like
elaborate on
continue?
that?
Yeah, anything?
Sorry, what was that? I was playing Rimworld.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rimworld is fun as heck. I should have played this game earlier. Okay, so
That's how I felt about it when I played it.
So the reason I decided to pick this game up was because
I put a gun to your head and said, "I'm buying you a birthday present."
Well, not actually that. Well, yes, but not actually that. It was like the day before my birthday. I was like, I'm gonna play Star Citizen when it comes out. Fucking what do I do in the meantime?
Would you rather talk about Star Citizen first? Maybe that would put.
Well, here's the thing. I played Rimworld first, so I'm gonna talk about Rimworld a little bit first. I was like, I'm gonna play Star Citizen tomorrow, but I don't have Star Citizen yet. That's gonna eat up a lot of my time. I should find another game to play right now because I don't know what the fuck to do with my life because I'm not currently working on a video.
That's funny because having played the preview for Star Citizen and having played Rimworld, I feel like those were totally opposite, and
Oh yeah.
I knew before probably you did that those
Yeah.
two ideas were opposite.
Yeah. So yeah, I looked. So I was like, all right, I need to do something. I need to do something that'll take up like these 30 seconds before Star Citizen takes over my life. All right, how about this Surviving Mars game? It costs a lot of money there. I don't know if I actually want to get in. It just released, and I don't know anything about it. So, Well, Saine has like Rimworld on it, and I know Dalsson said that it was really good, and it was like, you should probably play it. And I was like, okay, whatever, fuck it. I'm feeling in the mood for some sort of like city sim like sort of thing, or maybe just like some sort of simulation thing. Let's pick up Rimworld. It's a sci-fi thing. Let's do it. I ended up playing it for way too late.
Surviving Mars and Rimworld actually cost the same, but it's okay.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, but
Well,
honestly,
that's
I've
good
heard
news.
I've heard about Surviving Mars, and I think that at this point in time, Rimworld still probably has considerably more content, even though it's in early access. So.
and
Yeah.
again, I looked at like Surviving Mars like on the fucking on the Steam page like a day later, and I saw that big old warning sign that says mixed. I was like, made the right.
Good.
Whereas Rimworld, overwhelmingly positive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking Rimworld is so much fun. It scratches that city sim itch that I've been looking for a new good like sort of city sim, even though it's not like a city sim at all. It's like it's almost like The Sims except trying to fucking survive.
You know what it is? It's a Dwarf Fortress like.
It is a Dwarf Fortress, and unfortunately, I never got into the Dwarf.
Although that kind of does it some disservice, but
yeah,
because it's kind of a different sort of thing still.
Yeah. It's a Dwarf Fortress like, but a sort of thing where you can get really, really into all of the characters that you've gotten. They all have like nice little personalities. They fucking play darts. They hang out with each other. They get married. They do all this.
I mean,
Sims
so do
bullshit. And
so
then they
do
also try to
dwarves.
survive. Oh yeah, and so do. Yeah, and they also try to survive. It's like you're watching these motherfuckers. It's like you're making a game out of the thing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's always,
the biggest difference between Rimworld and Dwarf Fortress is in Dwarf Fortress you build down, and in Rimworld you build out.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest difference, I guess. But
yeah,
it has a lot of
Rimworld
similar
doesn't
systems.
have, like up and down, like Z level type things. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's.
Although that was one of the more complicated aspects of Dwarf Fortress anyway, so
yeah,
I don't know if I'm too upset about that, honestly.
Yeah.
From what I've played of it, I should put more time into it, but it's one of those games. It's like a kind of a big ask to play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a huge time investment. So
yeah, and not only that, but especially if you're just first getting into it, you have to learn the point is I never learned all of the even just the controls in like the 3 seconds I played Dwarf Fortress.
That being said, it's still way more approachable than Dwarf Fortress by far.
Oh, Rimworld is
easily.
No, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Dwarf Fortress is not very approachable. Like I like to go for things that are like generally not approachable, but like Dwarf Fortress was just something. It's like I probably have to download a bunch of mods to this, and I don't want to do that right now. And then I never
Dwarf
did.
Fortress is like overwhelming. Granted, I've played Dwarf Fortress and pretty much, like saying it's a Dwarf Fortress, like I wouldn't say it's not accurate. I would just say it's like it has a lot of the same systems as Dwarf Fortress. Like I never understood how to create a military in Dwarf Fortress. I've put 5 fucking hours into the game. I always just put traps in my fortress to keep invaders out.
See, I've played both Dwarf Fortress and Rimworld. I've probably put more time into Dwarf Fortress and got less done than I.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I probably put 3 or 4 times the amount of time into Dwarf Fortress, and I got maybe a third of the stuff done as Rimworld. So.
Dwarf Fortress was hard because it doesn't like hold your hand at all, and in a game like that, you need your hand held a little bit. So like I was saying, really just as an easy example, like the military stuff, right? With Dwarf Fortress, because there is no explanation of it, I assumed that I needed to have a standing military. I needed to have dwarves doing nothing, standing around being a military. Now that I have played Rimworld, I know that I can just draft my dwarves because I know it's the same system. It looks the same. It's just easier to comprehend in Rimworld.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I did the tutorial for Rimworld, and, like, when I was first doing the tutorial, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna scratch my city sim itch. Maybe I should just go play that Mars game. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And it was like 4 hours later. I was like, I can build more house in my house so that my house is bigger. I can go to bed after I build more house. I need more freezer to hold more food. I love Rimworld. I love Rimworld. Not only that, but one thing that I was like that I said like in the while just fucking playing Rimworld, I just typed to you guys in like our business chat. I was like, hey guys, have I told you guys the fucking music in Rimworld is wonderful and that I love it?
Yeah.
And
Compare again to Dwarf Fortress. The
music in Rimworld
I was not aware
is
Dwarf
so
Fortress even
catchy.
had music. I'm pretty sure I
That's
just put something.
all it is. It is literally those like that like same progression.
I
of
must have
chords
turned
over
off the
and
music
over.
because I don't
You
remember
had to
music
have.
at all.
There's no way you would play that with music. That's the most obnoxious shit in the entire goddamn universe.
When Rimworld has like, even if shit is getting really intense, it has almost this like really calming like, and the music is part of like what gives it that like really homey atmosphere that this is a bunch of guys just trying to survive on a fucking planet, dicking around, getting married, and fucking. Like, you know, these are some guys who are just trying to fucking make it after having crashed on a goddamn planet. You know, that shit happens sometimes.
The
We're
other great part is that Rimworld has a giant modding scene, which I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I've never played with any of them, but I installed a bunch of them after playing a successful Rimworld.
Honestly, I put a bunch of mods in, and I would not recommend it.
Okay.
I did the tutorial, and I played that until everyone died. And then I played again with a bunch of weird mods plugged in, and a bunch of the mods that I had chosen added systems that broke the game.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be wary of that. But there are a lot of mods that add like races and stuff, and those are kind of cool. Because
one of the problems with the modding is that it's in version 0. Like when we started, it had just recently updated to version 0.18, and a lot of the mods in the workshop were for version 0.17. And so anything that was for 0.17 was pretty much guaranteed to break the game, but there was no way to distinguish the two.
When I played
and now people have started tagging them.
When I played it, I didn't have compatibility errors like that. I don't know if I was paying attention to that or what, but I that wasn't an issue for me. But
right, how do you mean broke the game then? Like balance wise?
Yeah, balance wise.
Like it's
it added systems that were just too hard to account for.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I don't know. It just added things that made it too hard to exist in the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have to look at the actual mod list of stuff I had, but like
I feel like the best type of mods are things that add things that aren't like new systems, like adding races, adding new animals, you know, stuff like that. Those are good.
Those ones work out, and if I were to go back, I would still keep some of the race mods in particular, because it was kind of fun having like Asari from Mass Effect show up.
Yeah.
Just because, you know what I mean?
The one thing that I think changed systems almost intrinsically that I downloaded was called Welcome Mat. And it was a welcome mat that you could build so your stupid fucking dirty filth dirt balls would wipe their feet before they went into a building.
Oh shit,
I don't even remember that.
Well, they hate it when places are dirty, but they also hate to clean. Like, none of them will ever clean anything. Even if you set it to 1, other stuff takes priority.
You know, I think I had a person who liked to clean when I played.
Really?
Yeah. I think that it's just like you're random what people like.
But they they'll track dirt in, and then they'll get in a bad mood. Like, I hate looking at that dirt. Then they won't do anything about it.
They'll get. Well, here's the thing. I like only have them clean every once in a while because it seems to me like the amount that they hate for stuff being dirty just isn't that big of a deal compared to like some other shit that I should probably be working on. Plus, they're probably not going to be in the house all that long. They gotta go fucking do work. One of the things like I feel like maybe I'm not playing on like the hardest difficulty because like one of my like my tutorial run I've gotten to winter and I still haven't had like any problems with one dying.
You're gonna get fucked up by something, I guarantee it.
Oh okay.
That's just how that game works.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for it. And yeah, hopefully. And it's like I feel like maybe I'm just not playing on like a hard enough difficulty. I'm playing on rough. Is that what I should be playing on?
It's a roguelike. You should be playing on the hardest possible difficulty. Not including the storytellers.
I don't know. The thing about Rimworld is, like, it's always going well until it's not.
Yeah,
and that's how it is with Dwarf Fortress 2. Like, you can spend, like, and it's just sort of random. You can spend, like, 20 hours with nothing happening but just general city building. Or you can be playing for 5 minutes, a bear rolls through and just kills everyone. Like,
fair enough.
Like,
okay. Right.
it's and there's things about games, especially Rimworld and Dwarf Fortress, where there are chains of events that lead to crazy things happening that just spiral out of control. Like, one person is an alcoholic, gets drunk, hits this other person who gets mad, kills the other person, then another person arrests that person for killing that person, and it's like this huge thing.
Yeah.
Like
in my recent game, I started a game playing on, like, it's like Randy Random or Johnny Random or something like that.
It's Randy Random.
It is Randy Random. Okay,
I call him Robbie Rotten.
Okay, yeah. I played a game like that, and like one of the first things that happened was like someone named Rat showed the fuck up to my place, started burning down my power stuff, and then shot 2 of my guys, putting them in pretty critical condition. Now, this wasn't a very good thing that could happen, but then immediately after that, someone came up and was like, "Hey, can I join your guys' colony?" "Oh yeah, that's right, I'm being hunted by some motherfuckers, so if you could deal with those." 2 of my dudes are fucking in critical condition. I get one of the guys who's like in critical condition, grab him with a gun because he has like the best skilled gun. He gets shot, knocked on his ass immediately. I have to use this new person as a body shield, let them die for someone else to walk up and stab the guy in the face.
So, the funny thing about Rimworld, like, you've played for 18 hours, and I've played for 4, and I've definitely had 2 different civilizations go bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost connection on yes.
Yeah, I noticed
so a lot
that.
of my 18 hours is probably open, but...
Okay, hold on. Technical difficulties.
Uh-oh. Oh no!
We're still recording, but we're not streaming.
The stream is...
Oh, is OBS crashing? Uh-oh.
Oh, fuck!
Is it OBS crashing or is Twitch crashing?
OBS is crashing.
Uh-oh.
I have to force close it.
Hey, yo, the stream is back.
Oh, the stream is back?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is OBS back?
Yes. Okay. It looks like we're back.
Okay.
It's weird. We're not dropping frames, but for some reason. Okay. Oh, I'm not streaming. I have to start streaming.
Okay, weird.
Oh, are we back?
No, the stream is now dead. The stream came back. We were there, and then the stream is dead.
Oh,
Hey, Thel, pop in the
weird.
stream.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no. Okay, now it looks like we're back.
I swear, I was gosh darn in the stream even for the Path of Exile stuff. I don't know what happened.
Just make sure it's
Yeah, hold on a second.
It looks like we're back now.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, my friends.
We're
That
back.
was all Saine's fault.
Well, actually, that's a pretty good way to segue into Star Citizen.
Oh.
Okay.
It broke, and so did Star Citizen. I'm gonna make a video about it. Watch out for it when it comes out on Monday. Basically, what I did was I recorded myself incredibly drunk, attempting to play Star Citizen. Attempting to launch.
Well, that might have been part of the problem.
Well, yeah, of course it was part.
You
of
couldn't
the problem.
solve all those technical issues because of how drunk you were.
Maybe there was a way that I could have opened that door that didn't require me going through the black screen of infinity again. But like, oh boy, Star Citizen is in very early alpha, and it feels like it. And that's all I'm gonna say until the video comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And we definitely didn't have a long argument about this off the podcast.
Oh, we had a very long argument.
I
mean, we didn't at all. What are you talking? No, didn't happen.
This was not a thing that happened. Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Do you have a game you want to talk about, or you want me to go next?
You go next, because I don't have much. I just played stuff that I've already talked about.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna talk about Final Fantasy then. Again.
Sounds good.
I put more time into it now.
Okay.
So, Final Fantasy 15. So after we talked about it last week on the podcast, you told me that you can hold down the button and hit chains attacks, which made me like realize just how different of a game this is than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I really like the combat in this game, honestly. Because when you first look at it, it looks like something like Kingdom Hearts, right?
Right.
Which is kind of what I thought it was going into it, because Kingdom Hearts and this game are kind of similar because they're both Square Enix games. They're both like, I thought that it was just going to be
Final Fantasy games.
yeah, technically Final Fantasy games. Yeah, so I thought it was going to be like a more active combat system like that, because it's not like Square Enix has not done something like that before, right?
Right.
Whereas this is like a really weird hybrid of, I don't even know. Like, it seems I don't know why they would make a combat system like it, other than, well, I guess it's like different and interesting kind of, but it's just, I don't know. You know, it doesn't feel as satisfying to it feels like the game is more like a rhythm game than a fighting game, like a combat, like the active combat part. And it's not like I wholly dislike it, and I'm not super good at it at all times either. So it's not like it's too easy or anything. I'm not having the same problem with it as I did in like Nier. It's just more like, also I'm kind of bad at it, but that's like a separate thing. It's just, it feels clunky in a way, because when you're holding the attack button, it kind of decides who it feels like attacking, and then you can kind of change your target with the thumbstick using a controller or whatever, and that'll like switch your targets a little bit.
You know there's a lock on, right?
No, there is a lock on, yeah. So if I want something specific, it's not that I have a trouble fighting one dude. That's fine. I have trouble changing targets like easily. Because it feels like there's just a lot of things that kind of connect that make it hard to do this. Like, the switching targets is not super intuitive in combat. You can't do it while you are in the middle of an animation, so if you have been holding down the button, you have to like let go and wait for it to finish the animation. You can use lock on, but that like is kind of hard when there's a lot of enemies. They often have you fight a lot of enemies at once. I don't know. It's just, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And I think that the game around it is so fun that even though I'm not super into the combat, it's not...
Right.
It's like...
I think it's...
It's kind of similar to how I felt with Nier, except with Nier, I felt like the combat was just boring. And this game, I think the combat is hard, kind of.
Right. It's hard to use.
Right.
And like, I agree. It is a pain in the ass to switch targets, but the way that I kind of solve that when I'm doing that is just focus on one target. And if I get a block prompt, make sure to block.
Right.
That'll do some extra damage to somebody else.
I mean, there's situations where there is one big enemy and like 4 little enemies. And I might want to kill the 4 little enemies before I even really try to fight the big dude.
Yeah.
Or there's a big dude who's wrecking us, and I want to kill him.
But there's a bunch of little dudes.
Like, and I think it's really hard to time the blink thing. But I think that's just a matter of me not being super good at it.
The warp strike or the dodging?
Blink. It's the dodging.
Right.
It's literally called blink. It's when you block or you dodge at the last possible moment. You get like, it doesn't cost mana, and you get certain weapons give you like health back and stuff. Like they're So I think that's actually pretty hard. Like if I want to just hold it down, like that's also an option, but it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been able to blink out of an attack.
I have. I just not very consistently.
Right.
And then there's like skills in the tech tree that's like, you can do additional air dashes, but I find it super hard to stay in the air for any amount of time, like at all.
Me too.
So having like additional air steps seems like, well, maybe I'll air step, but will I feasibly be able to air step more than once or twice anyway in the air? Like, I don't know.
Well, does the air step pause your falling though?
Maybe, but I think that it should have. I think it does have like a fresh time still, though. I don't know. Like, there's just some systems I just don't. I haven't wrapped my head around yet at all yet.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like that for me too.
And like the game kind of, it also has this thing where it sort of doesn't want you to use the time freeze mode or whatever it's called. But
right.
it wait mode, but it kind of has a tech tree and like there's a lot of options for it too. So it's like I feel like I'm getting really mixed messages from the game about whether or not it wants me to use this whole ability.
I think it wants you to use wait mode if you want to use wait mode. The reason I don't use wait mode is because even though they call it wait mode and they say it's this different, just a different way to play, it seems to me like it's not wait mode, it's just easy mode, right? You can freeze time. One of the things that wait mode gives you is it will reveal enemies' weaknesses to you. The only other way to do that is by experimenting, or if Ignis happens to trigger his ability that does it.
I already, one of the first things I did was make Ignis always do it.
Yeah, I also have that ability that makes Ignis always do it, except he doesn't always do it.
He doesn't do it on specific enemies the first time you fight him. So I think you might have to kill him to unlock him for certain enemies, but most of the time it does.
Yeah, see, like I've also seen enemies that I know had their weaknesses revealed before, and I already know their weaknesses anyway, but now when I lock onto them, their weaknesses are not showing. So I don't know.
Also, I don't really think that... I don't know. I don't really think that I get enough feedback from the game to know when it's weak against something, unless I have that analyze bar up anyway, though.
Well, it's the color of the numbers is what tells you it, but... Like orange numbers mean they're weak to it, and purple numbers mean they're resistant.
Oh, well, I guess I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't feel like that was shown in any tutorials or anything either, so...
Did you play the like pregame tutorial where you just fought Gladiolus a bunch in this square room? Yeah.
I played through some of... I don't know, I played through a handful of them, but after a while I was like, man, this is really...
Yeah.
But... I don't think I played through 100% of them, but I played through most of them.
Right.
Certainly most of the combat ones.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of funny that you've never blinked, because that was one of the ones that they force you to do. But
really, like a last minute. Oh right, yeah. I mean, I've done that, but that like pauses the game for you to tell you to do it. So it's
no, but then he has you do it like 3 times in a row.
Really?
Oh. Yeah, he definitely makes you do it in real time. For sure. I don't know. Like, maybe I'll try it on wait mode just to see if I like it. But yeah. I kind of got the impression, too, that it was sort of easy mode. But I don't really... Especially since it's like an option in the options menu. To turn it on and off. So
it's like in older Final Fantasy games, with the games that force you to use the bar that fills up to represent your speed. They also, most of them also have a toggle option to just make it pure turn-based, and that pure turn-based seems like it's easy mode, but also you're navigating menus during that, so like you have to like know where to navigate to the menu, so that's just like
well,
weird.
I don't know. I don't know that it's the same thing. And actually maybe the game didn't say it was easy mode, and I got that impression from you before I played it. I don't know.
I got that impression because it seems like it just gave you free shit that you could do that you couldn't do without wait mode, like aside from stopping time. So
I don't know, because I haven't tried it at all, and I don't remember it really saying that, so I think I might have just gotten that from you. But like, I don't know, what is the actual true... Like, the thing that bugs me about wait mode the most, I think, is it's not super clear about how the developers intend for you to play it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do they intend for you to use wait mode, or do they not? Like, I don't even remember what it defaults
they don't
to.
because default wait mode is off. So I feel like they don't intend for you to use it, but they do have a skill tree that
They have a
makes
whole
wait
skill
mode
tree
better.
for it, so I just don't understand. But I do like running around on chocobos. I've been doing a lot of that.
I love chocobos. I've always loved chocobos because I like birds. Chocobos are great.
So,
and
well, I think they're just
chocobos-
more fun to drive than the car or running. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, the car is literally on rails, so for
Yeah.
at least for now, you can actually get an upgrade that lets you drive your car off road. But
Oh, that's
You can get an upgrade that lets you drive your car.
yeah, you can get an upgrade that lets you drive your car places. Once you beat the game, I know there's also like a special upgrade that lets you fly your car.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures.
There are places where you cannot access in the game until you get that upgrade because you have to fly to them.
Oh no.
Really silly. Yeah.
OBS reset my time, so I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
OBS
I'll have to
reset
pay
your
attention
time,
to
so
the...
now you're living in the Neolithic era. Congratulations, Saine. I'm so sorry.
Oh wait, no, my live time is restarted, but not my recording time.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I'm really liking the game so far, and even like when I got the chocobos, it made even doing things like hunts more fun for me, because I didn't feel like it took forever to get there and stuff. The one thing that kind of annoys me about chocobos is that you have to rent them. I would rather just like own one, because while it's not very expensive and it's like, it's just more hoops to jump through when I want that always. So
yeah,
like, I don't care how much it costs, I just always want chocobos. And like, there have been times where I ran out of time in the middle of nowhere, and then my chocobo ran off, and then now I have to run back 2 miles or something.
Well, you can fast travel to your car.
Yeah, I know, but like, depending on what's happening, I might not want to go back to my car right now.
Right.
So,
right.
I'm sorry. I wish we had like a bigger fan base of people watching it, so they could just like cut out when Saine said no matter what, I always want chocobos. just have that just be a completely out of context clip. It's, no matter what, I always want chocobos.
You can clip
any video game, anything I'm doing, I want fucking chocobos and to go to work.
You can clip it on Twitch, like no one's stopping you, man.
But it's too late now, so.
Too late now.
Well, yeah.
I want chocobos. Everything I do, chocobos. Fucking chocobos. I want chocobos in the streets. I want chocobos in the workplace. That's my political platform. Vote for me next year.
I just always want chocobos.
Always chocobos.
I like chocobos because A, I already like chocobos, and B, Prompto loves chocobos, and I love Prompto.
I love chocobos more than Prompto.
What?
Prompto's like, oh yeah, chocobos. I'm like, me too, man.
It could be your some political slogan. I love chocobos more than Prompto, and everyone just fucking shoots.
The other funny thing is, like, the music that plays during the chocobos running around is also really good.
Yeah. Yeah, you haven't even played it though, you know.
Yeah. It's a Final Fantasy music.
It's the chocobo music.
Final Fantasy 1.
Well, it's a little bit more than.
Yeah, I mean, it
has more
mix
instruments.
of it.
Yeah, it has more instruments, but
Prompto will also like. He hasn't done this since we got to the Chocobo Ranch, but when we were talking about going to the Chocobo Ranch, he would like just randomly start singing, I want to ride my Chocobo all day.
Oh, he's definitely done it after.
He's done it afterwards? Oh,
yeah, he just randomly does it sometimes.
I love him.
And actually, there's like another version of the song that plays slower when you're in water. And they do this little doggy paddling thing while floating like a duck.
I didn't even know they could go in water.
Yeah, they can. As long as it's not a river that's moving too fast. Like, if it's like stale water. Remember that quest where you have to get like 5 red frogs or something?
Yeah.
If you put that off until after you get chocobos, it's a lot easier because you can just have it dog paddle through the river.
Huh. Yeah, whereas Noctis can't swim, but he can fish.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, man, the game's a lot of fun. It's one of those games, though, that really feels like you can play for a long time without feeling like you're progressing much.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas I feel like Divinity sinks a huge amount of time, but you come out of Divinity going, man, I really got a lot done.
We did a lot, yeah.
This game, it's like, well, there goes 10 hours.
I did like...
Well, I guess I only have played
hunts.
for 10 hours, but...
I did like 20 side quests, and the main story, I still need to go meet Iris.
You know, the only reason I do hunts at all is to support my chocobo habit.
For money?
Yeah, because hunts give like a couple thousand gil usually.
Yeah, they give a lot.
And chocobos are like 450 or something. But when I first got that, I was like, I had already spent all my money on weapons, so I went and did a hunt.
I feel like it's important to do the hunts because, you know, they'll level up and then you'll get better hunts, and then eventually I'm sure they'll give you something worthwhile.
Well, I can only do so many hunts because I think hunts may actually just exist to give you money, but
probably.
A lot of the hunts you can't even do because you're not like really high enough level yet, and you can sort of fight things above you in level, but you're gonna use a lot of ethers.
yeah, definitely.
Also, this game has easily made me use way more consumable items in any game I've ever played.
For sure.
Already. Like, I've probably used, like, in the 10 hours that I've played Final Fantasy 15, probably used more potions than in all of my time playing all Kingdom Hearts games.
See,
So...
Well, that's the thing, like, that's, like, part of the system is, like, you could die and you're in danger, and then you can use a potion to revive yourself. But I found out recently that Noctis can actually die. Like, die.
I've died.
Go fully down.
I've died.
And as long as your friends are not all in danger, you can use a Phoenix down on Noctis out of the menu. So, like, you don't get an instant game of... What?
No, I've definitely... You get...
Well,
because when you're down, you have a health bar that slowly goes down, and then when that hits 0, you just die. So you have to use a Phoenix down before that. No, it gave me a game over screen. Like, it totally just was like, you're done.
Well, I let that tick all the way down, and then Noctis, it said defeated on his health bar, and I was like, wait, what? Why am I not at a game over? And I used a Phoenix down, and Noctis came back. A Phoenix down doesn't bring you out of danger. A potion will bring you out of danger.
No, it brings you out of death, but you have another bar after that. And when that goes away, you die. Like, and the game over. So I know
there's like two
there's
like
two bars. Yeah, there's the danger bar, which is just your health, and then you can heal that out. But there's, after you are defeated, there's another bar, and when that goes away, you're dead.
Oh,
and I've definitely
so like,
and the only reason I let myself die was because
the
only reason I let myself die was because it was like, oh, I didn't realize that thing was level 60.
Right.
I'm just gonna let myself die and then continue. And I had just left a dungeon, so it was fine. But
yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, that makes sense. So you have your like health bar where you're in fighting form, and you have danger where you have to run up to one of your friends or use a potion. Then you have defeated, which you have to use a Phoenix down.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And also your friends can die too, but I think they just come back to life if you just beat the thing without them.
Yeah.
Which I think I've done before, but
I don't think I've ever let my friends die. I love them too much.
Well, I didn't let them die. I let them be defeated. But it was like a small battle, and it was like, I'm not gonna res Gladiolus.
Prompto gets his ass beat all every fight. Prompto gets into down or danger territory like every fight, and Ignis and Gladiolus are always both fine for me. So I'm wondering if his equipment is bad or if he just has like
you should change his
600
equipment.
health.
You should change his equipment because my Ignis goes down more often than Prompto.
Weird.
So.
Well, Gladiolus has like 2,500 health for me, and Prompto has like 600.
Yeah, Gladiolus doesn't go down very often.
His Gladiolus's episode is called Shield of the King, so it makes sense that he's a beef tank monster.
Well, it also doesn't help that his alternate weapon is a shield, but
yeah.
And the shield's kind of fun to use, but
I've never used the shield.
It's super slow. It's super slow. The problem, it's almost as slow as the greatsword in attacking, and you kind of like run up and shield bash and knock people around with the shield. So it's actually kind of fun to use. But
yeah.
But the nice thing is like you actually block stuff. Like when you're in defense mode, it's actually like nicer to be in block mode with a shield out because you're actually like blocking stuff instead of just like walking very slowly with like blue shimmers.
Right.
I don't know.
Noctis is such a weirdo.
Yeah, I need to put more time into it still. Maybe I'll get better at the combat. Maybe I'll try out wait mode, but
I keep getting distracted by other games, but it's like one of those games where I can get distracted by a different game and then go back to it, so I know that I'm not really going to drop off of it.
I'm trying really hard to put at least enough time into it that I feel a draw to come back to it, because I feel like it's the kind of game I could really easily put down and never touch again.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get invested into it enough that I, like, won't do that.
Right.
And there's a bunch of games that I've kind of been skipping. Like, I wanted to play through the Bayonetta games because Bayonetta 3 is coming out and I've never played any of them. So I was gonna buy them all on Switch. But it was like, I just bought Final Fantasy. Should I really buy, another, like, single-player, like, kind of linear game? And then, beat it, and then come back to it, and then, like, will I come back to it? And, like, I just spent $60 on this, I should probably play this, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lot going on with that. But I like it overall. I just need to, I don't know, I need to wrap my head around the combat more. I still feel like I'm bad at it. And that doesn't happen very often for me. For more often than not, I feel like combat is too easy. This, I feel like, it's not that it's hard or easy, it's just I don't understand it entirely.
I don't feel like combat is... Like, I don't feel like I don't understand the combat. I think the combat's just hard, and there's a limited number of things you can do. So, like, you in the end, you have to wind up beating them to death with your sticks.
But, I don't know, like... I feel like I'm bad at it, because I can mitigate a lot of damage if I get better at blink stepping. Sure. And there has to be, like... Air dodge has to be useful for something.
Right, but
I don't know.
Like, you can mitigate damage by blink stepping, sure, but you can't blink step if you're locked into an animation. So you have to remember not to be locked into an animation. So,
well,
like,
yeah, but different weapons block you to different degrees. So, if you're trying to be more defensive, you can use daggers, and that lets you block more often than something like the greatsword.
Right.
But the greatsword is also, like... It's kind of defensive as well a little bit because it hits so many people at once that you can kind of be proactive with it.
Right.
Kind of the greatest offense is a good defense or greatest defense is good offense or whatever. So there's like a little bit, I don't know. I like that the weapons all feel kind of unique and different. I almost feel like I wish I had more weapon slots because even though it's silly to have more than 4, like, I would like to have, like, 8 or something so I could have just a bigger variety of stuff to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Rather than swapping it out on the fly all the time.
I found myself, like, in combat going into my menu to switch a weapon out, and it's like, why am I doing this?
Oh, I didn't know you could do it in combat.
Yeah, you can do it in combat. Like, it's so, like, that means having 4 is, like, totally arbitrary, because you can just swap those weapon slots in combat.
Other than there's only 4 directions on a D-pad, I guess, but... I mean, technically there could be 8, so...
Yeah.
I think the biggest one for me is, magic.
Yeah.
I don't like having magic on my bar unless I absolutely need it.
Right.
And I feel like there's not too many... I really don't like the magic system at all, kind of.
Yeah, I want magic on my bar.
I wish I could just have a spell that I could always use, instead of having to always, like, make spells constantly. I don't know. It's just a lot of work for like something that kind of sucks.
Spell crafting is kind of nifty because I don't know if you knew this, but that bottom slot in the spell crafting.
Yeah, it's items, and that can do different effects. I know, I've done it, but
okay.
It's just I wish you could craft a skill once and then just recraft it automatically, and instead of like having to choose the ratios every time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like it's a lot of work. You get 3 and then it's done. And then half the time I don't want to use it because it just blows up my party members anyway.
Yeah.
So I always make a bunch and then give it all to Gladiolus. Like, here, you're my magic man.
Gladiolus use it?
Yeah. He uses it pretty sparingly. He does hurt me sometimes, but it's okay. Usually he won't do it if I like am dying, but
right.
Or actually I think a lot of times he doesn't use it if I'm close to him.
Right.
And it really depends what we're fighting, but like a lot of times he won't use it.
Right.
When I would get hit by it. But then stupid me, I run into the lightning, so yeah.
Yeah.
it's whatever, but I give him Fyra a lot because that he can just like it's like a one shot thing and then it's gone, unlike Thunder.
You should give Ignis fire science.
But Ignis, I would rather have his alternate weapon on too.
Yeah.
So whereas Gladiolus, like, he has the shield as his alternate, which isn't super useful.
Right.
And even Prompto, like, he has like the weird machines, and those do interesting things too.
Those do unique things.
So I would rather him just do it because his alternate is a shield, which is not super helpful. So.
Right. That makes sense.
We've been talking about this game for far too long. Once again.
As usual.
As usual.
Anyway, about BoJack Horseman.
We've spent about an hour. I don't think we have many games left to talk about, right?
I mean, I don't have any.
You have a little bit of Path of Exile, but that's probably the same as you felt last week, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then there's Slay the Spire, which I did a run, and I did a daily run and won. I beat the whole game on my daily run. It was really fun.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember. I think we were there.
We were just hanging out doing something else, and I was like, shit.
You're like, oh fuck, I won. I did it. I beat Slay the Spire, guys. What? Yeah, I fucking killed the boss. I was on a daily run. Oh, nice.
It's just funny. It's just funny. It's funny when you know you're doing really well in a game like Slay the Spire when you're like, oh crap, that was the boss?
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Yeah. I just thought I wasn't really paying attention.
That daily run gave you relics in place of cards, so you must have had like 50 relics by the time you got to the end.
Oh, I had so many they were going off the screen.
Yeah, having like stacked up passive effects like that is good.
Yeah, but actually the reason I actually won is because I was able to put together a block deck with Barricade and have it consistently bring me Barricade, so it was one of those decks where I just stacked a ton of block forever and just kind of didn't take much damage ever.
That makes sense.
And granted, like, my relics helped, sure, but a lot of the relics were, like, useless stuff, too. So, because it was all random.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that probably contributed, but I think I could have done that in a normal run as well.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But maybe it was just, like, it forced me not to use too many cards, which I think is the thing that I'm not great at. I have the tendency to pick a lot of cards, but...
Yeah, I've been trying to, like, force myself to sometimes just skip cards if there's nothing that I need.
Yeah, and I've definitely done that. Like,
think about
when I looked at all... And because I was actively going after a block build, I was like, I don't really need any of these attacks. I'm just not going to take anything. And I did that even in the game where I already had limited cards, I still didn't take some of them, so... Right. Yeah, I don't know. Let's do a quick break.
Sounds good.
Just maybe like 5 minutes, and then we'll head into the news.
Oh boy.
Okay, so we will come back at 5:10. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Alright, we will see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back. For the second hour of the show, we're gonna talk about some... What?
I'm sorry, you just said welcome back and then we were just completely silent.
That's fine. We're gonna go into some gaming and movie news. Why don't we start with movie news this week? Because there's only, like, one thing.
Oh, okay, there's two things.
Kind of
Something
a big thing,
that, like, just fucking happened, like, 3 goddamn seconds ago. That, I'm just gonna put this right here in this motherfucker. So, alright. Henry Selick and Sylvain Chomet plan a new animated feature. This is a goddamn dream team.
And who are these people?
Like back, okay. Remember like back when Silent Hills was going to be a great thing. It was Junji Ito, fucking Hideo Kojima, and Guillermo del Toro. And everyone was like, "Oh, dream team!" Oh, but then Konami canceled it, and we never get to see what beautiful shit that was going to be.
Yes.
This is that, but for animated films. Henry Selick, who you probably know a little bit better than Sylvain Chomet, is the guy who did Nightmare Before Christmas and also Coraline. He was the big director for those 2 movies. Really has like this very, very interesting vision. Does a lot of.
I thought Coraline was a Nike movie.
Yes, but it wasn't directed by the Nike guy. The only one of those that was directed by the Nike guy was Kubo, and it was one of their best. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. And Sylvian Chomet, if you've ever seen Triplets of Belleville, which is on Netflix, or The Illusionist, not the one with Edward Norton, the animated one about the magician. These French language animated films, they are wonderfully animated. He has a really, really great style and is bringing some of the best animated stuff that exists. And these 2 working together, it's just, oh boy, I'm excited. I'm excited as fuck for this shit. I am ready for that. So yeah, good shit on the horizon. Whatever the hell this could possibly be, I'm expecting it to be good. So the next thing is...
And hopefully financially successful for once. Unlike any of Laika's, any other of Laika's movies.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a Laika movie.
Really?
Well...
Yeah, no.
You would assume, though, that it would kind of be in that style based on Henry Selick and...
Oh, yeah. It would probably be in, like, the Henry Selick. But I don't think it's going to be... I think it's just these 2 guys decided to get together and make a cool, good...
Move your microphone closer to you,
and
Thel.
actually, what is probably...
Yeah, Thel, you keep on, like, talking away from your microphone, and it's kind of hard to hear you, so...
It's cutting out.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Nope, better now.
Oh, okay, yeah, I just moved my microphone.
You moved your microphone away when you got up.
Yeah. Again, it might be in Sylvian Chomet's style because he has a very, very distinct style. Or maybe they'll mix styles together, which could make some great, beautiful shit. And I'm excited. I don't know what it's going to be. Nobody fucking knows what it's going to be. All we know is that they're working on it. So, good. The next thing's kind of a big thing. The day in court has finally come for the AT&T Time Warner antitrust thing. So basically, a little bit of background on this is AT&T and Time Warner were going to have a merger. And the Supreme Court didn't like that because that would kind of give them a little bit of a monopoly, and they didn't want that shit. So they're going to court for it.
Yeah.
So what is antitrust?
Antitrust is when... is basically it's the idea that they don't want monopolies in the business world. They don't want multiple companies owning basically all, like, everything.
Yeah.
And in particular, what it really comes down to is broadcast stations. The FCC, there's FCC rules that you specifically can't own more than one news station.
I see.
And I don't think that this exactly is that, because they're not buying, like, the broadcast stations, I believe, but it is like, or they aren't buying multiple ones, rather, but it is like, anytime a large corporation buys another large corporation, it causes antitrust questions about whether or not this changes their market share by too drastic an amount and reduces the overall market market share of free.
Yeah.
So this
exactly
trial,
it's like a merger.
So this trial isn't like they're in legal trouble for proposing this. This trial is to see if this actually is a violation of antitrust laws.
Well, okay, what kind of happened was they were going to do this, but were blocked, and now they're suing to say no, we should be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
So now it has to go up to the next level of court where they'll decide, and then potentially the next level of court to decide. I don't think it was the Supreme Court who said no, but it was a court that said no.
I see. Okay.
And it's not so much because of, like, I don't think it's like news stations is the problem. I think it's just because AT&T it's that thing where AT&T could, like, use this to sort of monopolize all of Time Warner stuff on it.
Well, that's part of the issue, but yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here. But I don't think that necessarily it has to do with news stations, but or broadcast stations rather, not news stations.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But yeah, I don't know. a lot of it just has to do with whether or not it's going to be too big.
Yeah, too big of a merger.
And FCC is involved here too. Like, I don't want to go into details because, like, none of us are lawyers, and we're not particularly. Yeah. I don't know a ton about this subject, especially since it's kind of a complicated subject in the first place. Mm-hmm. But, Time Warner is a major broadcast, like, cable network, and then AT&T, while not a cable network, owns a lot of like means of distribution. So if you combined it, they have to decide whether or not that would make them have a vertical monopoly, essentially, where they basically own every means of production, which is exactly the trouble that some other companies have come into recently as well.
I see.
The difference between this and like the Fox Disney deal is like that has more to do with selling of assets technically, but that might also potentially give them too many like TV properties that might also cause antitrust issues. So there's like that's also going to be down the line a thing that either gets blocked or gets allowed. I feel like that probably has a better chance than the Time Warner thing, just because AT&T and Time Warner, like, Time Warner also has like internet service stuff.
Yeah.
So AT&T would be also buying a chunks or merging into having a larger share of like internet service provider stuff too. So like there's a lot going on with this. Whereas Fox Disney is just about TV stations.
Yeah, it's specifically not only just about TV stations, but it's like movie properties going to another movie company rather than these companies that do a bunch of shit all merging and then having control of all of this shit that's all sort of
What makes this so complicated is both AT&T and Time Warner are both content and service companies.
Yes, exactly.
It's complicated.
So now I kind of have one last question.
Sure.
Why is this movie news?
Because both AT&T and Time Warner own a bunch of movies.
Own like a bunch of broadcasts. It's not movie news, more TV news.
Right, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even outside that, it has a lot of ramifications just in general in the industry. Movies
and not
or
just
otherwise.
This industry, but it's the industry of industry.
The industry at large.
Yeah.
Okay.
Industry. Find that whenever you come to, industry.
But and this is just kind of an update. Like things are moving. This stuff is happening.
That is there, basically. Yeah.
Stone set in motion, right?
That's about all the things that happened. Aside from South by Southwest is still going on. Isle of Dogs played there, and everyone loves it because it's a Wes Anderson movie, so everyone loves it.
You know what's been getting surprisingly good, like favorable reviews and stuff has been
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, I'm still not excited for it at all.
I'm excited to see what it is. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to trash it. I'm excited for Thel to trash it.
I'm not convinced I'll trash it. Some people are saying, like, even like kind of up there critics or whatever are saying that like this might be one of Steven Spielberg's best movies in a long time. Like it is a return to like old Steven Spielberg, which is like that seems like quite a statement.
That does seem like quite a statement. The only problem is the problem with this is if Steven Spielberg can make a good movie out of this, great. The problem with this is not Steven Spielberg or any of the writers. The problem with this one is the source material is trash.
Well, that's another thing that's like I've seen both sides of it. Like I've read like chunks of the book, like excerpts of the book that's really like, wow, that is 90% references and like 10% content. But at the same time, like a lot of that might be stripped out. It might make it for a better movie anyway. Like, and some people really like the book, so I don't know.
Some people are fucking idiots.
I haven't read the book, so I can't really say to like whether or not I would like it based on that. But I've heard like Ready Player One from a book standpoint is very polarizing.
Yeah.
I've seen people hate it, and love it, so I don't really know what to think about it.
I haven't seen anybody love it.
I've definitely heard
anybody in my life say
I
Ready Player
have
One was
heard
great.
No, there are
I
definitely
got
people who love it.
saying, yeah, there are people who do really love,
And people like I respect too, like not just
Yeah.
random like randos, like
yeah.
so
It's-
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really hard to say. So I'm like weirdly curious about this movie. Like, in that I could go into it and enjoy it, or I could go into it and it could be a train wreck. So I'm like really interested either way. You know what I mean?
Now, see, my question is like,
Oh fuck!
do they what?
I'm sorry, I just remembered something that we completely all collectively forgot, which I feel like is a great which is a great sign saying you forgot to talk about Tomb Raider. You saw it this week.
Oh fuck. I did.
That's the first fucking word in our podcast title.
Yeah.
Well,
Tomb Raider, we already forgot.
Well, why don't you finish what you were thinking, and I'll just go over Tomb Raider real fast.
I'm done.
My question about Ready Player One is,
go
like,
ahead.
for books, you can just write about fucking whatever you want. Nobody gives a shit about copyright law in books, words.
Except the publisher.
Oh, but the benefit of this is most of the properties in Ready Player One are Steven Spielberg properties, so because Steven Spielberg is making it, a lot of those issues go away.
Yeah,
wasn't there like
movie ever fucking made? So.
Wasn't there like a whole segment of Ready Player One where he teams up with Lara Croft though, from Tomb Raider?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there was. So like, how could they handle and even if there isn't, that's the type of thing that happens.
I know that there are specific things that have been changed. Like, they couldn't get the rights to some Gundam or something, so they replaced it with Iron Giant as a thing. So there's a bunch of stuff with Iron Giant in place of a Gundam from the book. So there are things like that where they had to tweak it, but at the same time, Steven Spielberg calls most places on the phone. They would be like, sure.
Yeah.
So I think
that
there is no one else who could get this movie done than Steven Spielberg, and because Steven Spielberg is doing it and likes the book apparently, like that's the only way this is happening.
Yeah.
For this book to be made into a movie at all is bonkers.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg can not only call people up on the phone and say like, hey, do you want to be in my movie? He calls people up on the phone and say, hey, do you want to have an advertisement for your thing in my movie?
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, please. We'll pay you.
It's like, hey, Blizzard, we need to use a bunch of like orcs and shit from your World of Warcraft thing. Can we get some we could put some like Overwatch or something in there too if you want. So it's like a lot of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way, like this whole movie is almost like masturbatory. It is like all of it is an ad, like up and down for different things. But
yeah,
at the same time, like it's very much steeped in like nerd culture, for better or worse. So there is a lot of like stuff in it.
Say a fucking word in front of my face.
Nerd culture.
Oh.
So shut up, Thel. You are a nerd. Don't even give me that.
Boy, I'm a goth. Don't you fuck with me. I was born
Goths
into
are nerds.
It's true.
True, though. Let's be honest. They're just nerdy about Satanism. I mean,
so I don't know. Like, I have mixed feelings about it. I could hate it or love it. I'm going to see which.
Yeah.
Aren't we all nerds on the inside?
Basically, the way that I feel about this movie is best case scenario is it's okay, and it goes the same way as Sausage Party, which nobody fucking remembered until I mentioned it. Worst case...
actually, Sausage Party. I just talked about it like the other day, but
really?
yeah, Sausage Party is like oddly a thing that people liked a lot. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like people do talk about that. And it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but I mean,
I would never buy it on Blu-ray, but.
Oh yeah, of course. But it's like, well, I said best case scenario. I suppose I should say worst case scenario. It's good to okay, and then people and then for the most part, people just forget about it. Best case scenario.
Okay.
It's fucking
worst
terrible.
Case scenario. It's Crystal Skull.
Okay.
And people just pretend not to acknowledge it, that it never happened.
All right, yeah.
That's the worst that it could really do. It is Steven Spielberg, so at worst, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for instance, the BFG. I've mentioned that. I feel like I'm the only one who talks about the BFG, but only to bring up the fact that I don't like fucking remember shit about that movie.
So let me just go quickly into Tomb Raider.
Okay.
So this is probably one of the best video game movies by virtue of not being bad. Is
it based in New Tomb Raider or Old Tomb Raider?
So it is based on the New Tomb Raider. Not directly, but it is like takes a lot of the look and feel from it.
Just like all of the other Tomb Raiders movies.
No.
Not directly, but
no, the other ones were like the original set were definitely like based on the original, but not. They did their own weird thing with the Angelina Jolie ones. Those ones went somewhere weird, but this one like was more grounded in reality than those ones were.
Okay.
Because they got like weird at the end in those ones, but this could have just as easily been like an Indiana Jones movie in a lot of ways, except like it's kind of funny because I think if Indiana Jones was made today, it wouldn't be impressive the same way it was when it came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
the
because
thing is, when it came out, it's the same thing with Star Wars. Like, I talked about Stalker a little bit earlier when we were talking about Annihilation. Indiana Jones and Star Wars were like that return to the golden age of Hollywood, where there were adventure films about fun things and everything wasn't depressing and Russian. You know what I'm saying? Everything. You didn't have to go when you went to the theater. Some people don't want to watch fucking Kubrick. They want to watch a dumbass movie about some dude who runs away from Iraq.
And so, like, this movie was not. It was kind of like an off-brand Indiana Jones. It wasn't bad.
Right.
It was fun, and it was worth. Like, if you're interested in Tomb Raider, it's worth watching. If you're not interested in Tomb Raider or the property at all, like, maybe don't see it. Like, it's really, I don't know. It's not a terrible waste of money, but if you're very concerned about which movies you should be watching it, this is definitely not one you have to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not something that you should specifically avoid.
Right.
It's not fucking awful. It's
if you want to go see a movie that's like a decent action movie that's kind of fun, like, then it's a good movie. But it's not so good that it's going to be remembered very heavily, other than just being like another video game movie. Except it wasn't offensive. Like, it was one of the least offensive video game movies there's ever been. So, it didn't
offensively bad if you understand our meaning. Not like offenses and like
it didn't trample the source material. It didn't like it wasn't just awful. It wasn't like so like overproduced and had so many moving elements that just made the whole thing confusing, like a lot of people's argument with Warcraft. Like, it was just kind of like okay, you know what I mean? So like it's a solid 3, you know, a 3 out of 5. It's just like it's good. It's like okay, you know what I mean? It's not great. Like I wouldn't say, hey, everyone go watch it, or this has some sort of like cultural significance, because it kind of doesn't. It's just it was a fun kind of action movie, right? But it wasn't bad, and it's like this was a waste of money, this was a waste of time, don't ever see it. Like it is worth seeing if you are interested in Tomb Raider. I don't know. And as a like cultural icon, you know, that Lara Croft has kind of become, like, it makes sense that a movie like this would happen, right? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And they left room for a sequel, which I would actually maybe be more interested in the sequel than this one.
Yeah, just because apparently a lot of the complaints I've heard about this movie, it's another fucking origin story movie. It's like 72 of those.
Well,
like, things.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That is kind of a weird point. Like, it is kind of an origin movie, like origin story movie, but it also could have just been like this person was put into a adventurous position. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't really seek it out so much the same way. I mean, she did, but she She wasn't doing it for the purpose of seeking out an adventure. She was doing it for like kind of a specific sort of reason that was explained. Whereas I feel like in the future,
Was the game, or did you play the game?
Like
the new.
So I've not played the new one. I've heard that it is inspired by that one, but not very closely in terms of.
Right. Well, the game is
it.
old. So in the game, she was forced into this situation by being in I believe it was a boat crash. It may have been a plane crash.
In this one, she is looking for her father who went to an island, and they are on a boat that crashes.
I think she was like on like a teenager party boat or something. Not like
I
don't
no,
remember.
because she was still an archaeologist, or at least had some background in archaeology, I think, in that game. But
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like I said, I haven't played it, but I think I don't know if the like big bad in the movie is the same as the one in that game. I just don't know how similar it is, but it's like, oh, she has the little claw, like climbing claw. Oh, she has like a bow and arrow. Like it is very much like, here's a thing from this version of this game, because she like. Right. And then at the end of the movie, she gets, like, these dual pistols, and it's like, okay, now they're setting up her having the dual pistols, like, from the original set. So, and they kind of had her, like, have the right style that would make sense for her to turn into the real Lara Croft. Like, she's wearing a black, like, leather jacket all the time. Like, you know? There was enough connective tissue where it makes sense that it would go into this place.
Without being egregious.
Right,
like,
without being,
this,
like, references. Yeah. Like, so it was definitely, like
Ready Player One.
So they definitely left hints for things, and then they kind of set up, like, a conspiracy kind of story for a potential sequel. So, I don't know how well this movie's gonna do, because I don't see it having strong word of mouth, but right now it's not really going up against anything, except for Black Panther that came out, like, last month. Still isn't in, like, a majority of screens. So, like, I don't know. Like, I could see this going either way. It's not a terrible movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun time.
Right.
Solid 3
so let's try and move back to our news now. I think that's
also,
unless you have anything other.
Apologize for calling Indiana Jones a dumb movie where a guy runs away from rocks. It was an elevated. The point is, it's an elevated version of like
Indiana Jones was not a dumb movie where a guy runs away from rocks. It was a cool movie where a guy runs away from rocks. Okay,
it was an elevated version of the adventure films from the 40s. Is what I was getting at.
You know what's kind of funny about Tomb Raider?
It's a great movie.
Don't
get me fucking wrong.
One thing about Tomb Raider. So the funny thing about Uncharted is it's also very much like Tomb Raider, right? But at the end of basically every Uncharted game, it's like everything was normal up until this point, and then suddenly at the end, oh shit, supernatural crap's happening. What the hell? And then Tomb Raider, like this movie was kind of the opposite, and it's like the whole time they're talking about the supernatural thing, and then at the end they go, oh no, it has this very like logical, you know, science-based thing for why this stuff was happening. So it's kind of like a funny twist.
Well, that's kind of funny, but I was gonna say, well, even the Tomb Raider games had like some weird supernatural stuff going on occasionally.
Yeah, no, the original set of Tomb Raider games definitely had supernatural stuff, and like in one point in the first game, you're attacked by a T-Rex.
Yeah, like it's pretty early on in the first game actually. So like,
that's not that early on. It's about probably 2/3 of the way through. But
really? Yeah.
Oh, maybe more like half.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Yeah, so we should move on to gaming news, because there is kind of a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We might run over a little bit. We'll see.
Okay, so...
okay, so here's kind of a big thing. Star Wars Battlefront. Have you guys heard about this yet?
No, I just read the article. I heard the word Star Wars Battlefront, and that's all I need.
So...
I just read the article.
Star Wars Battlefront... Star Wars Battlefront 2 is putting microtransactions back into the game, except they're changing how progression works and how it interacts with that. So they have conceded...
From what the article is saying, it does not interact with that.
Well, right. they have changed how it interacts with it by making it not interact with it.
Right.
Progression is now linear. This is like directly from EA's blog post about it. Progression is now linear. Star cards or any other item impacting gameplay will only be earned through gameplay and will not be available for purchase. Instead, you'll earn experience points for the classes, hero characters, and ships that you choose to play in multiplayer. If you earn enough experience points to gain a level for that unit, you'll receive 1 skill point that can be used to unlock or upgrade the eligible star card you'd like to equip. Except you would keep everything you already earned and unlocked. Crates no longer include star cards and cannot be purchased. Crates are earned by logging in daily, completing milestones, and through time challenges. Inside of these crates, you'll find credits or cosmetic items such as emotes or victory poses, but nothing that impacts gameplay. It's kind of like really funny about how like they're at every point, but doesn't affect gameplay. But doesn't affect gameplay. Thing, but doesn't affect gameplay.
They got an angry call from Mickey fucking Mouse.
Yeah. Starting in April, you'll be able to get appearances directly through in-game credits or crystals. The first new appearances are coming soon, meaning you'll be able to grab new looks for your heroes and troopers and blah, 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 blah for credits or crystals. Credits are the in-game currency. Crystals would be the paid currency. So it sounds like you're going to be able to buy skins of some sort. For instance, if you've ever been, like, for the Resistance, you can now play as a Rhodian, like, for crystals or credits. So, like, they're definitely look like they're, like, groveling back on their knees about, please play our game again.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
So to sum up, the gist of it is your characters now progress by gaining experience. You gain experience within individual classes. That is the only way to get stronger with those classes. You have loot boxes, but they are gained through completing milestones or daily login bonuses. You'll find credits or cosmetics. That's it. And you can also purchase skins with real money, but those skins are also purchasable with in-game currency. So they basically my biggest draw from that is that there is nothing in the game that you cannot get without in-game currency.
Right. So it looks like up and down they tried really hard to make this what it should have been in the first place.
Yeah.
The damage is already done, I think, though. Like the people in a way, like I'm really happy they did this. And I'm almost in this weird position where it's like I would almost feel like I should buy Battlefront just to like pat them on the back, but at the same time, like I'm so sour to it now that like I couldn't imagine playing it.
I thought the game was really fun, but I think that some of the core issues of the game are still there, right? So like, yes, it like just from a gameplay standpoint, let's put loot boxes aside. Yes, it really sucked that you could purchase in-game power by randomly getting better star cards. That sucked, right? But no matter what way you slice it, if there is somebody who flat out does more damage than you just because they've played longer, that still sucks.
Yeah.
There should not be a progression.
But that's not different than any other Battlefield game, though. So that's already how it kind of works in those style of games anyway.
I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. I just completely agree with Dalsson that that's dumb and bullshit.
No, it's dumb, and I agree. I mean, there's some, like, they do sort of balance it a little bit with, like, levels and stuff, so there is some of that. I think that the part of the problem is just that, like, players who have been playing for a long time have all sorts of weird unlocks. They could have high-level stuff and low-level stuff and be missing middle stuff, or like any combination of that. So like there's some kind of weirdness in there, like still just
I feel
as
like that's the
artifact
most
of it.
Solution to the people who are still playing it, like all 5 of them.
You'd be surprised
because it would suck to have your shit get taken away just because
I know
people who don't play the game anymore are bitching about loot boxes. Like it would suck to have the people who are playing it have their shit taken away because of that, right?
And this is the thing that's coming soon, so it's not in yet, but that is what they intend to do.
Right.
So, I don't know.
And
I've
never had
okay.
a problem with directly purchasable skins. Even
Yeah, no, I
Overwatch's
think that's
random
good.
skin loot boxes.
I know, I'm starting to get pretty sick of even how Overwatch does it, because it's like sometimes I'd just rather fucking get credits or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm even now I'm sort of getting done with that too. I just wish loot box if you're gonna do loot boxes, it just like closed in the game. Like Vermintide is a perfect example of like loot boxes are in that game, but you can't pay for them. No monetary attachment. It is all just about playing the game and then getting rewards from that game that are random rewards. Like, I don't know. It's just I don't know. The whole thing is like,
right, exactly. Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, and this is just another reason Vermintide is fucking great. Go play Vermintide. Good.
Go play Vermintide. So, but now I would be in a place where I would consider picking up Battlefront 2 on a sale, like if it's like $20 or something. I might do that, something like that. Yeah, whereas before I would just not, you know?
If the game released in this state, I probably still would have been willing to buy. Like, I don't know if I would have, but I would have been willing to buy it.
Right, I would have considered buying it for sure if it came out like this.
Yeah. I still would have probably been soured by the fact that people who have more time to play are directly stronger than me by virtue of having more time to play, but that's not as egregious as buying power.
Yeah, and that happens in like a lot of military shooters anyway. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I played PlanetSide 2 forever, and that you straight up can't directly buy power, but it's also free. So so that's the difference there.
So. Yeah.
And then in Call of Duty, you can sort of like they have like loadouts that are set up that are like competitive with better loadouts, except you can't customize them.
Right.
So you have some recourse for that. Like, I don't know. The different games have done it in different ways to kind of balance it out, but I don't know. So yeah, I might pick it up on a sale now, whereas before I just wouldn't consider it. And to some extent, I'm kind of glad this whole Battlefront fiasco happened, because now it's sort of set a precedent that this is a line. This is something you need to think about.
Yeah, exactly. EA fucked up so bad. Hawaii passed legislature, and everyone was like, listen.
No, they haven't passed legislation, but they're talking about it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're talking about it. They're like, listen, motherfuckers, you can't fucking do this shit anymore. Because, like, if you guys remember, like, the Day 1 DLC fiasco, that didn't get nearly as big as this. But EA keeps pushing that line, and now they push the line
think
so
that even,
far that...
even, like, I think the before loot boxes, I think one of the biggest this is corporate greed arguments that happened to date was Bethesda's paid mods. And that didn't even get close to touching loot boxes.
And
like, not even close.
and now things that now that people are drawing lines. It's wonderful. I like lines. I believe that they should be.
Although that left such a bad taste in people's mouth that it kind of ruined that whole concept in general, which kind of sucks, but
yeah.
Or doesn't, depending on how you feel. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is some ports. Surprising ports, you might say.
I have something to say about one of these because it's the only one I've heard of.
I'm going to start with Fortnite. So there is Fortnite Mobile.
Mobile.
Moville. Fortnite Mobile came out, and it is cross-platform with the main game, which is interesting.
This is the point. This is the exact point I wanted to touch on. Okay, so it is cross-platform with consoles, right? Okay, so here's how it works. If you are playing on the phone, you can play on mobile specific servers, or you can choose to elevate to
and play mixed
console servers, mixed with console only.
No, console and PC.
No, it doesn't work that way. Because the console version also has this, where you can play on console only, or you can play on console and PC mixed.
I think that you can. I think that you can still do it where you can play with PC, with console, with mobile, as long as you get in one party first.
Maybe, but
I know that the thing is they don't let you just do it.
Can't do. I know that what you cannot do is go from PC and choose to play on console servers, because that would be an unfair advantage to the PC player. But if the console players this is their philosophy on it. If the console players choose to play with people who basically have better tools to aim with, then that's their choice. But the PC players can't go and intentionally stomp. And then the same with the console cannot downgrade themselves to mobile servers, but the mobile players, if they feel comfortable, can go play on the higher up
Yeah,
servers.
I think you can always go up, you just can't go down.
Right.
So I think you can I think mobile can get to PC and play on PC servers as well, because there is some of that, I think.
Yeah. That would make sense. I don't like Fortnite, so I don't really care about this.
Yeah, I don't like Fortnite either. I played it and I was actually very dissatisfied with it. I really didn't like the shooting.
Sitting here on Twitch and saying words like, I don't like Fortnite, like it calls for that Eric Andre gift. How could you say something so controversial yet so brave?
I don't know, because I think that it's like to separate from just kind of general flame war kind of thing. I think that most people are at least willing to hear you out when you say that you don't like Fortnite.
Right. That's true.
Because, like, if you're saying I don't like Fortnite, that's not a controversial statement. If you're saying Fortnite sucks and PUBG is good, that is a controversial statement. You know what I mean? And I'm in a situation where there are things about Fortnite I like and things about Fortnite I don't like, and those add up to me liking PUBG better. I don't necessarily think that Fortnite is bad. I just like Fortnite or PUBG a lot better.
Yeah.
I think I have a problem that's more intrinsic to the core of Fortnite than you do, right? You don't like the gunplay. Now that obviously is going to turn you off for it, sure. My problem with Fortnite is even watching it is boring to me. I will see clips of Fortnite like, oh, these guys got into a battle, and this guy pulls out his gun, the other guy whips around, pulls out his gun, and then they both switch to building and just start spamming walls in random directions. And that's every single fight in the entirety of Fortnite. You just throw walls everywhere. And I think that it could easily be fixed by making walls not tangible until they're finished building.
I don't know if that would entirely fix it, but
because that's the core gameplay of Fortnite.
Well, I still feel like that's something they could tweak in places. And I feel like gunplay is even more tweakable. Like, they could get to a point in which I could handle shooting people in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So
now they are coming with an update. I have a friend that plays Fortnite a lot.
They keep talking about ballistic updates, and they've done several of them.
Different. They're coming out with an update. The next patch will be at making vehicles drivable. Now that seems really strange to me, because when we played it, the map seemed so tiny that there was no point in having vehicles. So that makes me think, and they keep adding in new towns, like, to fill empty space.
Yeah.
And they're running out of space to put new empty. They're running out of empty space.
So you're suggesting that they might come up with a bigger map?
I think they might either come up with a bigger map or just expand the map outwards if they're adding in vehicles.
You know what's funny about this idea?
What's that?
Fortnite and PUBG are going in opposite directions with things. Fortnite, if this is true, Fortnite's talking about making a bigger map. Right now, PUBG is talking about making a smaller map.
Yeah.
There's something I'm hung up on with this whole goddamn thing that I feel like we haven't really gone over as much.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you mean Fortnite is on phones?
It actually surprisingly runs super well on phones.
It runs.
It's
super
bizarre.
Well.
I've watched videos. Oh, you've played it?
I didn't play it on my phone. My buddy and I were both on break at work at the same time, and he was like, "Here, try this." And I was like, "I don't like Fortnite." He's like, "Just give it a shot." So you know how phone emulators will have those little like touchpad buttons and stuff? It's the same thing. It has like a console controller on the phone. And that's how you play it. Yeah. And so, but there is like so much aim assist on the phone version that it's like it was harder to play than if there just wasn't any aim assist at all, because I couldn't aim. I would straight up get hijacked and pulled to somebody who I didn't even know was there because of the aim assist. So
That's
it was
funny.
really weird, but I also feel like that level of aim assist is necessary when you're playing on a screen this big, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So
but it actually works really well. I have had a chance.
yeah,
to
it's
try
actually funny, and it
That's
looks
crazy.
pretty well, and so here's the funny thing about it.
Yeah.
It runs more stably than PUBG does on PC. And the funny thing is,
you do need a phone with 4 gigs of RAM to run it.
the funny thing about this whole thing is, Fortnite runs really well on PC, way better than PUBG, no question.
Uh-huh.
The mobile version of Fortnite runs almost as well as the PC version, depending on what phone you have.
Right.
So the mobile version of PUBG, which is another thing that came out, that is out currently now. It came out.
Fuck is going on?
It is the same kind of thing as the PC version of PUBG in that.
Work.
No, let me finish. In
Okay.
that the textures are worse and downgraded or whatever, but so it's kind of looks blurry compared to it. But it runs about the same, even the bad parts like rubber banding. So it was like, I was watching it was like, this is a very similar experience because I saw that guy walk forward, rubber band backwards, and then walk forward again. It was really funny because I was like, they did it.
Consistent.
They did it. Both games made the same experience for both modes.
I mean, that's honestly, I'm open.
I have a question.
Like,
we're getting a question in
okay,
chat
go
here that I actually would like to answer out loud.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Is Throw in our chat is asking, do you know when Fortnite comes out on Android? And I don't think
There's
we
not
actually
an
touched on
announcement yet.
this. One, there's not actually a release date, but it is currently playable on Android if you got an invite. Basically, active Fortnite players are...
No, I think it's the other
likely-
way. I don't think it's on Android at all. I think
It
it's
is on
invite
Android. I
only
played it
for
on an Android
iOS.
phone, I think.
No, it's invite for iOS.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think it's on Android, but I'm not positive, but I believe it isn't. PUBG is actually released on both, so you can actually play PUBG on whatever now. But Fortnite, I think, is invite only on iOS, and they haven't done an invite yet for Android.
Okay, my mistake. Yeah, I must have played it on an iPhone. I just can't tell the difference in people's stupid cases.
I can double check that real quick while we're talking.
No. I'm looking at it now. So they do say that there is not going to be any like timed release deal with iOS or anything, but they don't have an actual release date. They should. The full release of each game should ideally be at the same time as the full release of the iOS version, but I don't know if they'll even do an Android test or anything like that. It doesn't seem like they've made a statement about it.
So the weirder thing about this is not... I mean, Fortnite on mobile having crossplay and stuff, all of that is just weird, right? The weirder thing is that the PUBG works at all on phones. Because it barely works on PC a lot of times.
Well, and not only does it work on phones, it works exactly as good as it works on PC.
The weird thing about PUBG on phones, so they changed the progression system. It has like crystals and stuff that unlock and cosmetic stuff. So it's similar in that it has cosmetic stuff, but you also get like experience and coins and stuff. So like it's kind of monetized in that way, and it doesn't cross over with PC in the same way. The funny thing about playing PUBG on phones though is like the way that the game just changes because people have a lot of trouble shooting at each other now. Yeah. So a lot of times it's like, I was watching a video where people like had to stop and then just try to shoot at each other from stationary spots just because it was too hard to shoot and move. Whereas Fortnite had so much aim assist that it kind of, because it's more of a cartoony shooter anyway, it kind of got around it. Whereas PUBG kind of can't go in that direction, but also vaulting is in.
Oh, good.
I have confirmed that mobile PUBG has vaulting.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird, right?
Yeah, this is some shit. I'm fucking flabbergasted, but I mean, this is a good sign for like mobile games. Maybe there's gonna be games on the phone. That's the fucking complaint I always have. These are games that are on the phone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think there are. I'm finding more and more games that are actually games on the phone lately. Surprising. I think that maybe the mobile market's finally starting to mature a little bit. Because
Right.
right now
I
it's
mean,
just been shovelware.
to have actual games on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even Fire Emblem Heroes.
Hawaii. Senator fucking Hawaii Armstrong strong arming people into making real games.
Even Fire Emblem Heroes on the phone, like, while it's not actual Fire Emblem, it still works pretty well for what it is. It's actually like a game still. It has win and lose conditions. It's kind of like a puzzly tactics game, even if it's not as complex as a normal tactics game.
Yeah.
So that was a weird story. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Paragon? Paragon was Epic's other game. That was a MOBA shooter. That
I do remember.
Is very soon about to shut down.
I see.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, like they're no.
Yeah, go on.
So the funny thing about one of the things they did, it never actually came out of like early preview beta or whatever. Yeah. So they refunded literally anybody who ever spent money on it. They refunded it.
Oh.
Okay.
Something else that's really cool is they are now putting the $12 million worth of Paragon assets into the Unity engine store for free.
What?
So
for free?
Yeah, so now all of Paragon's assets are just free for use on the Unreal Engine.
Okay.
I mean, and that kind of makes sense anyway, because it's like, what are we gonna do with these assets? We might as well just give them to people, right? Like, it's not like it super hurts them, and it kind of enriches their engine anyway, but it's super cool for people who want, like, all of their, like, building assets, all of their map assets, all of their character models, like, all of that stuff. Like, $12 million worth of, like design is just free on the Unity engine store.
That's
or not
like
Unity, Unreal Engine store. Yeah.
That is, like, incredible.
So that's, like
that
I mean, say what you want about Fortnite, it's letting them do stuff like, here, have a bunch of assets for a game we canceled, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's really sad because I like MOBA first-person shooters. I'm the only one singular human being who enjoys MOBA first-person shooters, and they just died harder than anything else. None of them were ever successful.
Oh, Smite.
Yeah.
Smite is still successful.
I don't count that. I mean, like, first-person shooters. You know what I'm saying?
Like, actually,
that's
yeah. Well, also that's third-person, but
first-person shooter.
Yeah, I don't.
That are MOBAs with guns and shit.
Do you mean? Well, do you mean?
I mean, like, Monday Night Combat.
Okay.
He's talking Monday Night Combat and, like, that other one that was so shitty we don't even want to say its name, then I can't remember it anyway.
No, I'm talking about Super Monday Night Combat and that one that was Monday Night Combat.
There was also a... Oh, that wasn't a MOBA, that was just a MMO.
Oh, yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Battleborn. No, not Battleborn.
That was the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay. I was talking about it just an MMO that was something else. But yeah, I don't know, like, I never tried Paragon. So I don't really know.
Yeah, I
didn't give it a shot either.
I often forgot that Paragon was a thing. Apparently it had some really interesting looking characters and stuff though, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like that's cool though. That like the thing about Fortnite has just been kind of weird because like in a way some of the stuff they've done with Fortnite has been kind of scummy, especially with the relationship with PUBG. But at the same time, they're doing all this other cool stuff like even though they're closing Paragon, just completely refunding everything and giving assets for free, like that's crazy. Yeah. I don't know.
That's nice. That's good. I'm glad that they're doing a good thing with their thing that didn't work.
Yeah. Moving on, because we're actually like, we're going over a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So this looks like a thing that has been data mined, but there is a World of Warcraft race.
Okay.
Another new.
Yeah, a new race.
Yeah. There's more. There's a lot more races that.
Yeah, so not all of them have been announced anyway, but one of the ones that looks like might be a potential race is called a Vulpine, which is about the size of a goblin.
Okay.
But it looks like a fox.
I've never.
And the reason why, here, I'll dump it into chat here.
Is because WoW needed another furry raid.
And then I'll just jump into, quickly move into browser view. Oh, wrong browser. Okay. That didn't work out. Never mind. I won't do browser view because that just broke.
Okay, that broke. Damn.
But well, I guess I'll do this. Let here and then browser. Oh, what the hell? I accidentally clicked something. Okay, here we go. This was hard. Okay. So it looks like a fox person basically.
Right.
That's it. The reason why people are thinking that this is probably more than just like NPC or something is because they have a lot of animations and stuff that just don't look like they would be like there's so many customization options and animations that it just doesn't make sense for it to be an NPC. There's probably an player race unless Blizzard just had extra time on its hands or something. So there's a pretty good chance. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance that this is a new race. So that's kind of a cool thing.
So that's interesting, but it seems, I don't know. This seems really strange to me. Okay, first off, like I feel that this might be fake, because first off, if you look at the models themselves, they straight up just look like the Worgen model, but squished, and then they put a fox head on it.
Actually, people were looking at it. People were looking at it. It actually looks closer to the goblin model with a different head.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, like the textures and the modeling and stuff look like it's like, you know, those weird ROM hacks of Smash Bros where they put Pikachu on Captain Falcon's model. It looks like that. They just put a Worgen on a goblin model.
I don't know. The reason why, because this is a data mine, though. Like, this is something that multiple people can kind of cross-reference. So this is, like, data mines are almost never hoaxes. Because other people can check on them.
Yeah.
This also, I don't think this even, like, is a race in Warcraft lore at all from anything.
Okay, but this is Blizzard's writing team. They don't give a fuck.
Every single race they have released ever for World of Warcraft has been a race that was established in a different Warcraft game.
Draenei were not.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well that's
and the new type of elf also not.
The new type
are a
of
race
elf?
of Volpera are people
no,
fox people living in Vol'dun on Zandalar.
But
some of them are also found in Colteras as pirates in Freehold.
But the Void Elves did exist before. The Void Elves existed in the previous expansion before they were playable.
All right.
Draenei, I don't know, but I feel like Draenei, like there was references to Draenei in World of Warcraft at least before the Draenei race was released. But I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know a lot about World of Warcraft, but this looks like a pretty credible thing.
I have not heard
whether or not it's a hoax is like I don't know, but it looks pretty credible.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough.
Take this as a rumor because it is a data mine, so even if these are all in the files and like that isn't disputed, it could just be used as a NPC and it just for no reason there's a bunch of extra animations. Like that stuff happens. So it looks pretty credible, but it could just be nothing. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't see what seems strange about it is that all of the allied races that they've showcased so far are allied races that came from Legion. Like they were races that existed in Legion but were not playable races.
But whereas at the same time, the ones they haven't shown all of them, and the ones that they have shown are stuff that they already had models for, and so they was probably closer in the pipeline, so it made sense to give those ones early. So like, I don't know.
Right. I want to believe because Volpera sound awesome. I would totally play a Volpera.
Yeah.
Level from.
I sort of don't care because it's WoW, but
yeah.
That's where I am too.
But you know, I just thought that was a notable enough thing that I thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah, It's nifty. If it's true, like that's awesome. Dig it. I really dig it. Right.
Yeah. I think that you might be a little bit. I think you might be a little bit. You tend to be a little bit more suspicious of leaks and data mine stuff than I am.
Well, data mines are always usually like accurate. It just like looking at this, it seems like it feels like a hoax because you can like anybody could say, "Hey, I data mined this," and a lot of data mines seem like feasible, but I've never heard of a Volpera ever. Like, how did they get the name Volpera? Right?
Well, Volpera
like,
just sounds like Volpine.
Or...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would assume.
Yeah,
I would assume it would be a file name or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on because that's not worth really digging into because most of us don't even care. But so there's been some changes on Vive Pro for retail.
Okay.
They announced the price for Vive Pro will be $7.99, which is the same as the current Vive.
Wow, $7.99. How can you beat it?
How affordable!
And the standard Vive is going to be reduced by $100. So they're so now that actually wasn't it?
So what
was it at 6 or was it at 8?
I'm not sure. What's the difference between Vive Pro and?
So the Vive Pro will have a larger display. It'll have a dual OLED 2880 by 1600 compared to the Vive's 2160 by 1200.
Also, doesn't it like not use the little like the boxes?
What do you mean?
Doesn't it like do something similar to the Windows Mixed Reality where it like does?
Well, yeah, because it's OLED. The way that the boxes are, the way that the pixels are displayed is slightly different. Okay. So you should get a little bit less of the screen door effect, but it'll still be there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That it might be slightly less noticeable, but it's not going to be like that's not going to change that much, honestly. Okay. The Vive Pro will also be forward compatible with Steam VR Tracking 2.0. Whereas the old Vive will either be obsolete with Vive 2.0 or have to get other changes, like other updates later. That's kind of unknown at this point, but this one will definitely work with a new set of tracking. The thing about the new tracking is it's not super useful for everyone. Some of the major components of Vive 2.0 tracking has to do with additional lighthouses and larger play areas. Like play areas so large that we're talking like warehouse large, not like house large. So it's actually probably more of an industrial kind of thing.
You could have like
Vive for industrial use.
You could get it industrial use, sure. You could get it like, those arcades that have like laser tag arenas and shit. Like you could have the same type of thing there. That's the kind of idea, right?
Right, that sort of thing, and other VR experiences. So actually, the original Vive was 600. It's now 500, and the new Vive will be 800.
Nice. 500 is getting more and more affordable.
Like yeah, it's quickly
getting
approaching.
A lot closer to a lot. Like that's basically like buying a video game console.
Right. How much did I spend on the Windows Mixed Reality? Maybe that was a bad purchase. No, it was about 400, I think.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I mean, you'd have to wait probably a couple more years.
Yeah, but I feel like the HTC Vive is like a much better solution than the Windows Mixed Reality thing.
Yeah.
But whatever. I think the lighthouses is just a much more elegant solution with that, and I've definitely run into issues with specific games where it wasn't tracking me correctly, but at the same time, it was considerably cheaper. So
it's weird. Like when the Vive came out, I was thinking, I don't know if this was the consensus, but I was thinking, wow, the Vive is just aping off the Oculus Rift. They wanna get into the Oculus Rift market, and now like everything I've heard about the Vive ever since it came out, it's like. It's getting better than the Rift. It's getting better than Samsung VR. It's this. They're doing this and that and that and this. And it's like
I feel like
throw the Oculus and the Samsung shit in the trash. Like
I think when the Vive came out, it was better than the Oculus in a couple of ways. But it's like a trade-off thing. the display in the Oculus is better than the one in the Vive. Not the Vive Pro, but like the original Vive. The Oculus one is just better.
They have more technology to take advantage of. Also, the Vive.
What do you mean more technology?
Well, like or like not necessarily more technology, but like when you go on a like time frame by time frame basis, the Vive has always had more interest. Like the Vive had the Vive Touch before the Vive, the controllers before the Oculus Touch came out, right? So
the Vive the Vive. So the Oculus has better display. The Vive has better tracking. This is kind of indisputable. Like the way that the tracking is set up is just better.
Right. The Vive has really good tracking.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
And one of the benefits of the Vive is it doesn't take a million USB ports.
Yeah.
Whereas the Oculus is really finicky with like USB controllers, and you like can't have too many USBs plugged into the same like set of USB ports. So that's like finicky and harder to set up. And it has several cameras. You need multiple cameras to get it working correctly. Like the Oculus just has a much worse setup. Although that's debatable at the same time, because lighthouses are also kind of a complicated thing. You have to figure out a way to like mount them places and power them, because they take power, but they don't need to plug into your computer. So
so it depends on what's easier.
Yeah, it really depends on what's easier for you. But the Vive is like, from a technical solution.
How many USB ports does the Oculus have? Do you know? I
believe it's 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
The Vive only needs
what?
And the Vive only needs 1.
Yeah, the Oculus, that's quite a bit of USB ports. Like, I mean, I have it, but other people might not. I have like 90 USB ports on my computer, but that's like, I don't know, like
that's because you have like
3 or 4 is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, you need. The problem with it is, you need 1 for the headset and 1 HDMI. You need 1 USB port each for the 2 cameras, and then a third one if you have a third camera.
Jesus.
So every camera needs a USB port, and the headset needs a USB port, and you can't put too many USB ports on the same USB controller, because that also causes problems.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's kind of more confusing to set up, if more than anything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you could get it and
unplug it. That's just more time.
Right. So that was my major hang-up with the Oculus, is I didn't want to deal with USB ports, really. So that's kind of where I didn't go there. But also the actual Oculus Touch controllers are more ergonomic compared to the Vive controllers. So they're a lot of different things. It's really kind of hard to compare them, because in a lot of ways they're not apples to apples. There are different things about each one that just complicate it.
Yeah. I'm saying here in chat, even like it sounds to me like if you have the space and the money, the Vive sounds like the best option. If you do not have the space, then it might not be as good, right?
Right. Like, in terms of just, like, I don't know, tracking and stuff, and, like, actual room scale, like, and the built-in microphone and stuff, there's a lot going for the Vive. The Oculus is a slightly cheaper option, is a little bit more technically difficult to set up, maybe, depending on what's going on. And then the Windows Mixed Reality is the easiest to set up, but has the worst tracking of the thing.
Right.
Because even with the Oculus, it can do things like track behind you and stuff, depending on where the cameras are. Whereas this one, it's like it has to be in front of you, or it can't see you.
Right.
But this is a really new field of technology, so we're still making progress everywhere. So I don't know.
And it's really new, but the thing is, like, It's better than any other virtual reality that's been tried for like 200 billion years.
Yeah.
And
This is the closest we've ever been.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm happy about it. I'm happy that it's improving, and I'm happy that even if it isn't exactly having games out right now, I'm just happy. It makes me feel good. We live in that sci-fi universe I always wanted to live in. Wonderful. Beautiful shit. Thank you, Oculus Rift.
One of the benefits of Oculus is they actually are funding new games, so there's a lot of Oculus games.
Yeah.
And you can emulate a lot of those through Revive, but that's like another hoop you have to jump through. So,
Right.
But yeah, like, I'm really interested in seeing how VR shapes up.
Yeah.
Now that I've tried it, I might be slightly less interested in it than I was initially, just because it's hard to play, hard to do things. I don't get sick the same way Thel does,
But that might be partially
but it's a lot of
symptom
setup.
of your Windows mixed reality.
Yeah.
And well, here's the thing. I also got sick on the Oculus Rift, like the DK1 on the Oculus Rift, and I thought it was like, okay, they're still improving the technology and everything. I think it just might be me.
Yeah.
I might just have like motion
Also,
sickness.
certain games,
Yeah.
different games are better than others in terms of comfort stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like, and some people are just like you were saying, some people just have harder time with it, and some people get used to it, and some people don't. So there's like a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. Do we have one more, right? One more news story?
Just a couple of games that were coming out.
Okay.
I'll go through it real fast. It's not super important, but Sea of Thieves comes out tomorrow, or
Excellent.
or Tuesday the 20th. A Way Out, Detective Pikachu, and a Ni no Kuni 2 come out on Friday. Or Friday the 23rd of March. So these are all kind of big games, sort of. Not like big games, big in scope games, but other than Sea of Thieves. But there's kind of a lot of stuff coming out all at once.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't really have much to say, but I think that was kind of a notable thing to talk about.
I'm definitely excited for Sea of Thieves. Like, if we can all get it like up and working by tomorrow, we could probably just stream that tomorrow night. That'd be fun.
I'm not gonna be able to have it.
Well,
Not at all, definitely.
What do you mean?
It's 60.
Okay, well, here's the thing. This is the other thing I was going to go into. So, Windows also has the Xbox Game Pass, and you can do a 14-day free trial on the Game Pass, and that will include Sea of Thieves on release. So,
that's interesting.
So, if you have never tried the Game Pass, you can try the Game Pass for 2 weeks, and
get a chance to play Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
Okay.
try Sea of Thieves. So it might work out, or we might figure out a way for Thel to have Sea of Thieves.
And then if it's I mean, like, yeah, like, worst comes to worst, we could do it tomorrow. We could all try the Game Pass, and then if we like Sea of Thieves, we can buy it. Or saying you were thinking about picking up the Game Pass.
Yeah, I might just
itself,
stick with the Game Pass. I don't know, because it's $10 a month. That's not that bad.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how great Sea of Thieves is.
Yeah.
It looks great from all the promotional videos, but of course the promotional videos are going to look great. But we might as well try it, especially if we can try
trash,
it for free.
then all right, we dodged a bullet. And I mean, I'm not expecting this game to be trash. It doesn't have.
Is there a
like,
new
there's no,
Uncharted
like,
game coming?
What?
Oh,
Is there a new Uncharted game coming?
no, I don't know about an Uncharted game.
I have absolutely no idea and wouldn't be able to tell you.
Uncharted: A Thief's End was Uncharted 4, and that came out like 2 years ago.
Right. Not multiplayer, so we don't need that.
Anyway, so that's been the Graveyard Media Podcast. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time, and remember,
Stay beautiful.